Hello and welcome to Carreira Na Real. I'm Gui Serpa.
And I'm Montenegro. On Carreira Na Real, we introduce and explore different types of career of different types of people. Here on Carreira Na Real, we go from entrepreneurship to business and all types of different experiences of career that many can seek on their world.
Today we have a very special guest. I have the pleasure of knowing him for some time now. And our guest is Leonardo Montenegro, who has recently graduated from administration and has started his very first internship at Starboard Partner. Leo, first of all, welcome. We're so happy to have you here at the opposite end of the table this time. And so to start off, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? You just graduated, you're interning, and you're set to start college in January, right?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you very much, Tom and Guy, for the invite. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you. And well, to begin, as you said, I just graduated high school, and I did something which people don't usually do. Normally, after they graduate, they go directly to college. But I took the decision to stay in Brazil for 4 months longer because I'll go to Boston to pursue my college career. But I decided to stop and focus on myself, on things I wanted to learn before going to college. And then I had the opportunity to go to Starboard Partners, which is a private equity company. And just to explain for you who don't know, basically private equity happens in the following way. So there's this group of wealthy people, and basically they inject their capital. So in my company, at least, is a specific amount that they can, it's usually a very high amount, so more than 1 million reais, for example. And they inject that money into a fund. And with this fund, my company goes and acquires other companies who usually are facing bad economic situations or bad management. And that's what's called special situations, as we say, special sits. And as we get those companies, what we usually do, we make them profitable again by cutting costs, changing the administration. And after 2 to 10 years, we get these companies and we sell them again, creating profit for those who injected capital initially and also capital for us. And that makes, that's how private equity works. And that's what basically my company, not my company, but the company I'm working for does. And I'm currently a summer intern, which means I'll be working there for 3 months because I can't just be a normal intern, as I'll go to college soon in another country. So yeah, so I'm really excited. I'm liking this opportunity. I'm having a lot, and yeah, it's pretty good.
So would you say this setback, for example, of not going directly to college and starting and different experience that most graduate students don't take, is a different type of approach when you get to college? You think will be more prepared and well-rounded when you get to Babson?
Well, that's a pretty good question because initially what I thought I'll be doing is I would have like time for myself, so to read and to like kind of, because I have the objective to do really well in college because of the opportunities I'll have from getting the highest grades, getting the best presentations, and I wanted to get ready for that experience by itself. But what actually happened was, instead of actually sitting down and studying for college content, I began actually working, which wasn't what I expected, but it turned out to be even better from what I had in mind before. And basically, I kind of have college content, mostly like from accounting, because I'll do administration. So I have a lot of accounting and other subjects inside of administration, but I'm exposed to those contents inside of my internship. And it's really interesting because something that everyone tells me is what I'll learn in my internship by living and having like the practical work is way more relevant than the content that I'll have sitting down and like doing theoretical content in college. So I'm having like a great opportunity, not only for a sneak peek of what I'll have in college, but also it's a great opportunity for me to understand how work actually happens and the work ethic that work actually requires. Because I think I'm an IB student, so I had the IB curriculum, and it's already pretty difficult. It's very demanding. The amount of contents that we have simultaneously is a lot. And even with all of that, I can say confidently that I have a lot more going on in work because the hours are extremely demanding. You have to do the work inside of the work, the actually my work, right? So my building instead of doing work at home, homework at home. So it's a lot more demanding and it requires a lot of effort. And I really like it because it's a great opportunity and I'm working with amazing people, like the smartest people that I know. Everyone is extremely smart, so I love working with people who I believe that can teach me a lot, and I'm taking advantage of the opportunity I'm having.
Yeah, it's great to see this internship because there are also people that don't go straight to college like you, but they also choose to not do anything, no internship, or it will also help you in college for some previous knowledge in the topic that you're doing. So I wanted to ask you, what led you to choose Babson, and why was it the best college for you to seek this path?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, Guy. So my family, actually, I'm from a family from entrepreneurs, and Babson is the number one entrepreneurship school for 28 years in a row now. But my grandfather, he began his company when he was 50, and my father began. He's a lawyer, but he always had like wanted me to. He really exposed me to companies, to his friends who have big companies, because he wanted me to live inside of this bubble, right, of people who have the initiative to begin their careers and really want to like grow as people financially. And because of all of these environments which I lived around, because for example, when I would travel with my family for example, for Christmas, my two uncles own their own business. My grandfather owns his business, and my dad owns his law firm. So when I got exposed to all of like these conversations about finance, I decided like that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to understand what they were talking inside of the dinner table, because you know usually you're just sitting there and you can't understand anything. So like at that day, I remember I went to like a little shopping mall around like, the city I was, and I decided to buy my first finance book, which is called Rich Dad Poor Dad. For those of you who want to start finance and understand how money works, it's I think the best way to start, from Robert Kiyosaki. It's an amazing book. And from that point on, I read the book in like one day. Like I couldn't stop reading it. I was amazed by the book. And after that, I read it again, like to make sure that all the contents were in my mind. And from that point on, I couldn't stop focusing on that specific business, right? On entrepreneurship, on how companies worked. I was completely fascinated by that, because I feel like it doesn't only require the academic intelligence, which is what we're normally exposed to in school, but also it's a different type of intelligence. It's like it mixes a lot of things, social, attitude. I feel like it was something which really I could identify with. So I decided like that's what I wanted to do, entrepreneurship. And now that I'm exposed to even more things about companies, because every day my days are like I look at companies which my firm wants possibly can acquire. So I'm like really exposed to like numbers about companies. So I'm trying to build my best entrepreneur character I can, my entrepreneur identity, and growing as a person. So I chose Babson because I wanted to be the best entrepreneur I could. Yeah.
So going back to your internship,
Yeah.
as you're saying, you chose Babson because of the amazing entrepreneurship course. Based off your internship, how is that going to help you at Babson? And what exactly is that going to prepare you when you first get to college and see the difference between an actual working environment, which is your internship, and actually learning in Babson, which will be different?
Yeah, great question, Tom. Well, I think the most important part of what I'm doing now for college is the work ethic I'm creating. Because before, to be completely honest, like I couldn't even focus on watching like a full movie without wanting to get my phone for like 2 minutes, right? Because our generation is like completely addicted towards our phone and we have a lot of trouble to focus. And at that, from living and work and being sat down in the same chair for like 10, 15 hours in a row, it kind of gives you that focus that's required like to make yourself more intelligent, right? So when going to college, my objective now like kind of shifted. It's not only about having the best grades or being the smartest person I can, but it kind of made me want to be the most intellectual possible, because something I noticed from the people I'm working with is that everyone is extremely like they know a little bit about everything. Like that's pretty clear, and they're engaged into everything. And I think I want to have like that general knowledge that everyone does. And I think that we usually we're always locked in our phones like TikTok, and we don't usually have like that interest into pursuing things that in our perspectives, like I always thought, for example, theology or the history of religion was like extremely boring, but like they start telling you like information that it makes everything kind of interesting, right? And I think that's really important, like for us, especially at our age. And that's something that everyone tells me too, like people who books I've read and people who I know that are successful, everyone tells me it's really important to know a little bit about everything, because obviously for entrepreneurs there's obviously the social side, which is really really important. And if you know a little bit about everything, you can have conversations about everything, and you can be like someone who people want to talk to, right? Because you're someone who has a lot of intelligence and by nature. So when going to college, I think something that really helped me here is to kind of have that mentality shift to wanting to be someone who's more knowledgeable, and at the same time someone who can sit down and focus instead of just be scrolling in their phone my whole day. Yeah.
So you mentioned your family being a family of entrepreneurs, your dad owning a law firm and other different companies. So I wanted to ask you if you plan on doing a minor in Babson, or what type of company do you think you're going to create? Do you want to create a law firm like your dad, or what do you plan to do?
Actually, I want because Babson offers you many options for minors. So for example, when I went to do the tour, the girl, like the student who was giving us the tour, told me that she was specializing in beverage marketing in the beverage market. So like things are really specific. And for myself personally, I don't know if I want to specialize in something like at that level, because I don't want to be the person who's like only having like I don't know if I want to pursue the same career as I do in college. So I want to have like that general view, which administration offers me. And I think I'm gonna mainly focus on my minor is going to be probably on accounting, like specialize in accounting, because I feel like it's something really important, because it teaches you how to create value. And for companies, I think that's one of the most important things, to know how to distribute your costs, how to make the cash flow, everything be profitable. So I think accounting is going to be like vital for my career. But I always had the dream of creating my own company when I was young. But I don't know if that's going to happen, right? Because I don't know if I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to have to like see how I'm doing, if I have a good idea, if things are worth actually having that attitude of creating my own company at 23, 22. Like that's really young. It's something I really want to do. So if I feel like I'm prepared and I have a good idea, I'm 100% trying to pursue it. But I'm not going to try to like do things before my time, right? Because my grandpa, for example, he began his company when he was 50, and like it worked out super well. So before I was gonna try to rush things out, to be the best person I could as young as I could, so I could start a family young, because that's something I've wanted to do before. But now I kind of changed my mentality too, and I don't want to rush into things. But I think my minor is gonna be in accounting for now. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Since you don't plan on rushing things and letting things live the way they should be on, as you could say, on God's time, would you say, like, for example, if you, after you graduate Babson, have all your things ready, have a better experience of what you actually want to do? As an example of my dad, he graduated on engineering, but nowadays he's in entrepreneurship, where those changes happen really, really fast and really effective. So adding on to Guy's question, do you think you could also see different paths of jobs in the future, not just as an entrepreneurship, but since your minor is accountability,
Yeah.
see yourself working in a bank or something like that?
Great question. Great. Well, actually, that's one of the principles from the book I've mentioned before, which is Rich Dad Poor Dad. That it's something that really got into me. He says that never seek the money, but seek the knowledge. So he uses the example of how the father, the rich dad, he shifted in many careers because he wanted to acquire the most knowledge he could. And he always also teaches the lesson that it shouldn't be for money, but it should be for the knowledge itself. And that's something which I value a lot because for my internship, for example, I'm not rewarded financially, economically, but I get the knowledge which is worth more than any money I could get. And well, that's something I want to do too. I want to be exposed to many different markets, to many different things, because as I said, the more knowledge you have, the better, the more you'll know, right? At the same time. But if I feel like, because at the same time, if I feel like I can gain a lot of knowledge from one specific area and I can succeed inside of the area which I'm specialized in, I'm working in, for example. So let's say private equity. Let's say if an example, if I feel like I have the information I need to start my own firm at a young age, maybe that's something I'm open-minded towards, right? So it's kind of relative. I believe that it is really important to have like that general knowledge to seek different markets, seek different jobs, to work at a bank, to work at a private firm, to even like I don't know, start your own company just to understand how it works. I think all of that is extremely valuable, but it's something like I can't predict, but for sure something I would want for my life to like get a good knowledge of everything before starting my own company.
So I wanted to ask you, you've mentioned the book, and I wanted to ask you, who is your inspiration outside of your family? Who inspires you to be on the path that you are on today?
Well, I feel like there are many people who I feel like who engaged me towards having the interests I have today. And I'll say mainly, I think book authors are really relevant towards my interest for entrepreneurship and finance. So one really good author which I recommend for you who want to start, is Jim Collins. He's incredible. Like his books make you like actually want to like read them again and again and again. And Robert Kiyosaki, as I said, he has like 3 books I've read which are all really really good. And I think beyond writers who are entrepreneurs at the end of the day, but I feel like entrepreneurs themselves who have like strong characters, I feel like are people who fascinate me. Not always people who I want to be exactly like, but people who I admire. Like for example, which is is people who many people don't like him, but I feel like I admire his courage and what he does. So for example, Donald Trump. Not saying I like his attitudes as a president, but I admire him as an entrepreneur because he's someone who broke 3 times and he was able to stand up on his feet again and become a billionaire. He was a billionaire, he got broke and became a billionaire again. So I feel like that courage of that he has, like to take the risk to make the money again, which is something very few people have. It's something which is extremely admirable. And as I said, I don't have one specific person who I look up to and say like I want to be exactly like him, but there are a lot of people who I see and I see the like good characteristics in different people who I want to have in myself, and also I feel like people in my daily my job, I look up to them, even those who are other interns. I feel like the knowledge that they have is something I admire a lot. So for example, one of my buddies, another intern I have, is someone who he's already graduating college. I'm not even beginning, so he's already graduating, and soon he'll become an analyst in the company. But he's someone I admire a lot. His nickname is also Tom, and he's really smart. And I admire the way that the patience he has to teach. Because imagine staying in a company, because interns have a lot to do, the whole day. They have everything that the people don't want to do, they give to the interns. So it's a lot of things that they'll do simultaneously. And I admire his patience to not only do all of those things and like show engagement towards doing them, but also taking his time to help me to learn how to do the things he's doing. So I feel like he's someone I admire a lot, I look up to, and also like my the bosses from my company, they're also like, you can see they're extremely intelligent, and they have control of the team in a way that I admire a lot. Like it's leadership, it's core leadership, right? You can see that they're really talented at what they do, and all four of them who are the owners of the company. So I admire, because that's the work, that's the environment I'm currently living. So that's why I look up to these people. But yeah, I admire these people from my job, and also some authors, some courageous entrepreneurs, and mostly that. Yeah.
So obviously those your managers became some of your influence now since you just graduated. But before that you were talking about authors from books. And since we are now Generation Z, do you think social media has a big impact on that?
Yeah.
Because as we high school students, I don't have the patience nowadays to read a lot of books. It's not that engaging since we have social media. So do you think building those
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, these
type
efforts,
of
yeah, to
ethics
read.
and having connections with different types of people, not getting to know different types of people is important through social media, or would you say social media has like a negative impact on that?
Yeah. So because everything has two sides, right?
Yes.
And I think it all depends on how your approach towards things are. Because, like for example, my social media today, it has some things which I like see as valuable. For example, like before my reels were only like funny videos and things that like I would laugh at with my friends. But like today, there's a lot of like actual like finance content, which is really interesting to watch. Like something that I can engage myself through watching. And I feel like the world has shifted towards social media. Like it's really rare to find someone our age who isn't just scrolling TikTok, right, the whole day, because that's what being like patronized towards like the society. But I feel like the balance is really important, because what I see is it's really hard to get out of social media. If you don't have social media today, you're kind of out of what's going on, right? You don't know what's happening in the world, because in social media is where most of us gets the information that we have from what's happening in the world. But at the same time, I feel like you have to create a limit towards social media to a point where you have the time to follow your own interests, like things which will all like really be beneficial towards yourself as a person. So to pursue what you like to do, not specifically about finance or entrepreneurship, but something that you really like for example, even sports. You have to have your own time, your personal time for yourself, because that's what creates the equilibrium for you to sit down and be able to study. Because for example, myself personally, I have to do something before I start work, because if not, I'm like, my performance gets way worse than it should be. And I'm a person who's like, I need to have something like an activity, like a sport. I know you two really like sports, for example, and I have to like at least do my fighting, play soccer, run. I need to do something at the mornings before I get to work, because if not, I'll be sleepy the whole day. And I feel like that reflects to you guys in school, because if you guys just go to school, get home, and even if you just study, I think you won't get as much information. It depends a lot on the person, obviously, because some people are used to not doing exercise and being able to study. But for me personally, I need to have my time to exercise, to do what I like to do. I need to have my time, because that's what we call it in my intern, but we call it phone in bed. And it's like the 20 minutes you have in your phone before bed. And I think like that's really valuable, because it's some personal time, right? But I feel like before having that time for yourself, it's important to have the time for your like physical activity and for your studying. For you guys, it might be the IB or some personal studying, which I think is like relevant, because as I did the IB, you guys will start it now, but you'll see that although you have like a lot of content, there are going to be many days which you don't have anything to do. And I think you have to take advantage of the time from these days. Like, force yourself to read a book. It's really important. Like, find a book that try to engage inside of the book, because it's really hard. Like, if I don't like a book, I can't read it. Like, I'll read 20 pages, stop, and just forget about it. Like, there's people who, even if they don't like the book, they'll try to continue, and like they'll be able to read it into the end. But I can't personally. It has to be about something I like, and for like a perspective, that's good, because I can pursue what I like. And there's people who not only that, like they can't even read what they like because they want to be in the TikTok, they want to have like that time for the social media. But from my perspective, you need to force yourself at least like 20 minutes a day to read if you don't have anything to do. And get that time for you, because it's like one of the most important habits that you have. You can see like the most successful people in the world, they all read. And it's something that our generation's been shifting apart from, like every day a little bit more. And I think it's something crucial. So have the time to read, create the work ethic to put your homework before watching the TikTok, which is really important, and having like at least 6 sleeping hours, because if not, you want to sleep at the afternoon, you won't be able to study properly the next day, which was like I think the worst part of my IB. I would do my, because I think my schedule is different from yours, but I would get home at 7 p.m. and I would be exhausted, and the first thing I wanted to do was sleep for like 1 hour, and then I would begin studying. And I think that was terrible. I should like first study, eat dinner, study, get home, get in bed like at maximum midnight, and then sleep to wake up at 6 the next day. I think that's like the limit. And I think my biggest suggestion is to create the work ethic that the IB demands you to create, because if you can follow what the IB requires you to do, you 100% will be able to create the focus to like sit down in the work environment and focus too. So I feel like if you have a little bit of, because everyone is smart, you'll get to a point, you'll see most people that you'll be dealing with in your daily lives is extremely smart. And what differentiates people is their work ethic. So if you have that work ethic, you'll be able to because that's what I see in my intern. You'll be able to like go far in life. All of these people I work with, I can see that they're going to be really successful. So yeah, that's my perspective on social media.
So you've mentioned great strategies, and now to close it off, do you have any more recommendations of what not only you should do after you graduate high school and become an intern, but also in high school? What were your main points? What were your main points right now, and that you think you'll pursue?
I feel like one of the most important things, which usually people don't tell you, is like it's really important to spend time with your friends and family. Like I think that's one of the most important things. Obviously, you have to do your obligations first, but you also have to create that balance to see your friends and family. And now, like in my internship, I'm getting the time. Like in work, I'm prioritizing work, and I feel like it's all like everything is about phases of life, right? So, for example, now you guys are in school, and you only have one obligation, which is getting good grades, all right? Or for you guys, sports too, because I know we take it pretty seriously. But I feel like your main focus right now has to be succeeding in school, not only succeeding, but like actually doing well, doing the best you can do, like, and not only like it doesn't have to be about getting good grades, but studying to get that good grade. That's what makes a difference for the future. And also spending time with your friends on the weekends, on weekdays, which like in school, like take advantage of the time, because it's worth a lot. Like right now, all of my friends have moved to, not all of my friends, but many of my friends have moved to other countries, other places. And it's something that you'll miss a lot. So take advantage of the time. For you guys who are in the school phase, see them at the weekends, go out with them, have lunch, go to parties. Like, I think that's really relevant for the phase you guys are living right now. And once you get to college, I think it's also pretty about that environment too, getting to know new people. Because, I think for you guys who want to go to college in other places, you'll get to know like people from everywhere in the world. So, just get exposed to those environments, because you'll learn a lot from other people and like other cultures, because it's like people are really different. And usually people don't like that. But I really like getting to know like someone who's from like a place which I never think I'll go in my life, and maybe like going to that place with that person. So I think the most important thing is to be open-minded, prioritizing your friends and family, and obviously the obligation to study right now in the phase that you guys are living.
Thank you, Leo, for joining us today.
Yeah, so thank you guys again for the opportunity. You guys, I know you guys will do really well, and I hope that you guys get to know really important and successful people too.
Thank you very much. Guys, please subscribe, stay tuned for next episodes, and thank you very much. See you next time.